If you're struggling to create characters for your book, I get that. Characters are hard, characters are also extremely important, and you want to get it right. However, a lot of these videos are just going to tell you the what to include for characters, and I think that's the wrong way to go about it. See, in this video, not only are we going to address the what, the main focus is going to be on why. If this is your first time to my videos, hello, my name is Stefan. I'm a fantasy writer. I also create videos about writing fantasy as well as videos about creating fantasy worlds because I really like that. I would love for you to stick around to the very end, and in the comments below, tell me the trick that you didn't think about before and really is one that's going to make a difference with your writing. See, anyone can say what a person's name is, what a person's hair color is, what their eye color is, what their height is. But when you really get to know the character, you really want to know the why are they like that. Now, a perfect reason behind this is take scars. Scars happen because of some event. There's some story, there's some history going on behind there, and oftentimes it's the story behind the scar that is far more interesting than the scar itself. The scar is just a visual representation of the event that happened, and that event could be something really big that has shaped their entire history. It could be something that is just small and trivial and they laugh it off as a stupid thing. It could be something that was actually part of a bonding experience that caused them to get a best friend out of it. So the thing about the scars having stories, well, in the same way, think about why your features, why your name, why anything is the way that it is, because that story, that's what audiences are going to care about. So on that note, let's talk about names. Why is your character named the way that they are? You may think it's because the name sounds really cool and because it's got meaning to you, and that's great. That is awesome. But then you think about it in world. Why is your character named the way that they are? For example, in my book, I have a pair of brothers. One is named Josian, one is named Callian, and their father is named Ralshian. So I wanted a name that was similar to their dad's, but also not the same as their dad's. It follows inside that pattern. Then you look at stuff like Lord of the Rings, because, I mean, Tolkien's awesome. You got Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Again, similar sounding name, same kind of family line. You've got Boromir and you've got Faramir, two brothers, names sound the same. But then you've got, in the Shire situation, this is actually really interesting. The Hobbit lasses, there's a tradition that they're named after flowers. So if you look around various characters, you're gonna see that all these characters are named after flowers, and even Eleanor, at the very end, when Sam was trying to figure out a name for his daughter, Frodo suggested Eleanor because they were the little flowers that they saw in Lothlorien. So it's a flower, but it also has meaning because of their journey. Next, let's talk about stuff like hair color, eye color, skin color, height. Physical features that are very obvious. Well, you don't need to be an expert in genetics to know that the parents are going to pass on their genes to the child. So if a child has blue eyes, it means that the parents had the blue eye gene. If a kid has blonde hair, then it means that the parents are passing on the blonde hair gene. If the parents are tall, the kid will likely be tall, etc., etc. So if you have a kid that has various physical traits, odds are the parents are going to have those traits. Well, what does that mean in your world? In our world, blonde-haired, blue eye, fair skin, that's synonymous with Scandinavian heritage. But what is it in your world? And even better, if you have a character that has traits completely different than everybody else in their town, in their village, in their city, whatever, that's a huge story by itself. Also, let's talk about the parents for a little bit. Yes, even though you're creating one character, you're kind of creating multiples, because the parents are greatly going to affect everything from not just how they look, but also how they view the world. If a parent is a very loving parent and they're very close, then they're going to have a much tighter relationship and their influence is going to be a lot greater. If a parent is much more distant, then that's going to affect how the kid views, for example, authority, how they're going to view parental figures, and it might affect how they are as a parent in the future. If a parent is a very hard worker, then it might inspire the kid to be a hard worker. But at the same time, if the parent is a very lazy worker, then it might inspire the kid to be a harder worker because they don't want to be that kind of parent. So think about who the parents actually are, and that's going to affect the character. On the note of people, let's talk about the people around this character to begin with. See, we are influenced by our friends and we're also influenced by our enemies. The people that we surround ourselves with, they're going to influence us a lot. And the reason that we have enemies, There could be a lot of reasons behind it. It could be the actual epic good versus evil. They're evil, you're good, blah, blah, blah. It could be that you have traits that they envy. It could be that they are just a bully. That's entirely possible. I had my share of bullying in high school, and it kind of sucks. But the people that you're around, the people that you surround yourself with, that's going to also affect your view of life. So if you are a hardcore extrovert person, then you're probably going to surround yourself with people that are also extroverted. But on the flip side, if you have a lot of friends that are extroverted, that's going to make you, whether you're introverted or not, come out of your shell. On the other hand, if your friends are much more introspective, they're much more thinkers, they're much more kind of calm, rational individuals, well, that's going to affect how you see things too. It might make you slow down. So the people that your character is around, that's going to affect it. But here's the other fun part. Why is your character friends with them to begin with? You know, that's got a story, and it could be a long story, it could be a short story, but why are they friends with those people anyways? And so now, all these people aside, let's talk about your character a little bit more. What kind of job do they do, and why do they do it? You know, everyone's got some kind of an occupation, whether it's student, whether it's factory worker, whether it's carpenter, whether it's fisherman, etc., etc. Everyone's got some kind of job that they're doing, but again, why are they doing this job? Are they doing it because they actually enjoy this job? Are they doing it because they're good at it? Are they doing it because they have to do this one job? Is there anything else available? And kind of on that note, what are your character's skills? You know, what kind of things does your character actually like to do? And what kind of things is your character actually good at? For example, does your character like to read? Well, why do they like to read? Do they like to read because they love stories? Do they like to read because they love finding knowledge? Do they like to read because they haven't been able to read all through their life, and now something has happened and now suddenly they're able to? You know, why does your character like to do the things that they like to do? Now, the last thing I want you guys to think about is what kind of strengths, like what kind of virtues does your character have, and also what kind of flaws do your characters have? See, when a character has virtues, when they've got strengths, we like to cheer for that because they're good things. But when a character has flaws, we use that to relate to them better. So when a character has flaws, these are going to be sometimes obstacles that they have to fight through. Sometimes these are things that they're going to have problems with others in the future. Sometimes these flaws are going to be major stumbling blocks that are actually going to prevent them from doing things that they want to do, or from keeping them away from people. So if a character, for example, one of their virtues is they're very courageous, well, if one of their flaws is that they're very kind of dumb, that's going to result in them possibly running into situations that they really should not be running into. On the other hand, if one of a character's flaws is that they're overly cautious, then that's going to mean that they're going to rethink every situation, and it might not let them act. But if they overcome their cautiousness and they use their strength, their courage, then it's possible that will result in a character that will be much more calculating when they do finally act. So yes, thinking about the what is very important. However, thinking about the why, that's what creates a story. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If it has, please hit that like button, and also please subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot. If you look up here, there's going to be a few videos that YouTube thinks that you should watch, and also that I think you should watch. Otherwise, have a most excellent rest of the day, and happy creating.